cars. They're fast, they're expensive, they make a fun vroom vroom noise when you push the accelerator, and perhaps most importantly, at least to us anyway, they make for some great video games. As technology has improved, it's no surprise that virtual driving is getting closer to the actual thing, and that console racing games have been moving farther away from the arcadey experience. Titles like those in the Gran Turismo and Forza Motorsport series have made cars more realistic, ditching the floaty physics and ridiculous power-ups for accurate driving simulation. However, there are still some less serious races out there, and we've collected just a few of them to take a look at today. Before we begin though, it's important to clarify that by people who don't like cars, we don't necessarily mean having a deep-seated, irreparable hatred for them as a whole. Instead, it simply refers to those of us that want to get right into the fun bit of racing without messing around with catalytic converters and other alliterative machine parts. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get racing! I'm Peter from Triple Jump, and these are the 10 best racing games for people who don't like cars. Number 10. LEGO Racers. Okay, yes, we said in the intro this was a list for people who don't care much for tinkering with cars, and part of the appeal of this game is it offers the option to customize vehicles, meaning that some tinkering with your car is involved. Consider this a counterpoint though. It's Lego. Do you hate Lego? No, I didn't think so. 1999 karting game LEGO Racers combines the appeal of the titular brick-building toy with the power-up madness of Mario Kart. The utterly bizarre story follows Rocket Racer as he creates his own tournament by finding the greatest speedsters in history and using a dimensional warp machine to bring them together for one last matchup to ensure he becomes the greatest LEGO racer of all time. The game boasts a variety of themed courses, all rendered in blocky goodness and each with their own main rival. There are also power-ups scattered across the tracks which can be upgraded by combining them with one or more white bricks. These range from a simple projectile, which is useful as either a weapon or a way to open shortcuts, to a game-breakingly powerful wormhole. LEGO Racers is a bit tougher than you'd expect, but it's nothing compared to the pain of stepping on a stray brick. Number 9. Wreckfest. Sure, regular racing is fun and all, but who doesn't love a bit of demolition? As its name implies, the main appeal of Wreckfest comes from the destructible car physics, which means there will be bits flying everywhere as you drive around and slam into opponents and walls. The game does have a multiplayer online option, but a lot of the fun and weirdness actually comes from the career mode, where players can progress through different levels of difficulty by completing races, demolition derbies, and challenges. This is where new vehicles can be unlocked as well, some of which are pretty standard, whilst others are completely ridiculous. Although at least with a drivable couch, I can both relax and run errands at the same time. There is admittedly a bit of vehicle customization in the game, but a lot of it is fun stuff like armor or spikes, which help to protect against getting demolished before finishing an event. It's not too in-depth either, with it being a case of bigger numbers equaling better stat improvements. Races and challenges will give the player points which they can use to unlock more cars and upgrades as they continue playing. Just don't get too attached to the paint job. It'll be scraped off by the competition before you know it. Number 8. Jeepkist. Jeepkist, I think, is both the Dutch word for soapbox, or more specifically a soapbox car, and a neat little video game in which you race soapboxes down hills. This cutesy racer has players guiding their wacky, waving, arm-flailing bean person through a variety of courses, which can include loops, jumps, and wall riding sections. As they're just soapbox cars, there's no real way to accelerate. Instead, players have to rely on momentum and boost pads to ensure they make it to the end. They have to be careful though, as going off the course and slamming into obstacles will cause these soapbox to break apart, and they'll have to start all over again. It can be played by up to 4 people locally, or as many as 64 players online. There's also a single-player adventure mode with over 50 levels, as well as unlockable hats and soapboxes. Additionally, there's the option to build custom levels with over 1,000 different blocks to place, paint to customize with, and trees to plant, as well as NPC cats to put down if you feel like traumatizing the poor things. While still in early access at time of writing, it is hard to stop playing this game once you get the cart rolling. Number 7. Hot Shot Racing. Despite being released in 2020, Hot Shot Racing looks and feels very much like a classic arcade game, allowing players to jump right in and drift, boost, and slam their way to victory. This blocky racer has 8 characters to choose from, each boasting 4 unique cars with varied stats. In addition to that, there are 16 tracks ranging from a standard beachside affair to a dinosaur park, all of which can be played in mirror mode. Can we count that as 32 tracks then? I don't know, the jury's still out on that one. Players can choose to take part in one-off races, as well as time trials and Grand Prix, plus a couple of special modes as well. Cops and Robbers takes the classic game of chase and mixes it up a bit, making tagged players become additional cops to increase the difficulty. Drive or Explode, on the other hand, sees players driving cars with bombs attached, with an ever-increasing speed threshold to reach in order to keep them from detonating. It's a bit like if you were watching Speed and decided to fast forward every 5 minutes. In short, Hot Shot Racing allows you to enjoy all the fun of the arcade without draining your pockets of all your loose change. Number 6. Road Rash. Unlike actual road rash, the unpleasant friction burns people experience if they fall off a motorbike, Road Rash the game is actually a lot of fun. Originally debuting on the Mega Drive in 1991, this high-speed motorcycle racing and vehicular combat game was ported to a variety of other systems afterwards, and has received several sequels throughout the years. Road Rash takes place in California, and follows a series of illegal motorbike races which players must win in order to progress, all while trying to beat other motorcyclists senseless in the process. The default attack is a punch, but players can take weapons from other opponents if they attack at the right time. However, they also have to take care not to get flung off their bike or crash into any obstacles. If this does happen and the bike's stamina depletes, the vehicle will be destroyed, eliminating the player from that race. Officers can also cause problems if players get caught sprinting back to their bike after a crash and don't have enough money to cover the fine. If this happens too often, then Road Rash can turn into good old-fashioned road rage, but at least you've got plenty of targets to take it out on. Number 5. F-Zero GX. While everyone who is a fan of the languishing series will have their own favourite, F-Zero GX is the highest rated of the F-Zero games according to Metacritic, so it's the one we've chosen to highlight. This GameCube exclusive, released in 2003, retains the series' trademark high-speed racing with an emphasis on twitch reflexes. Its story mode allows players to once again take control of Captain Falcon and guide him through 9 different chapters worth of missions. The courses themselves have all sorts of obstacles and tricky elements to navigate, including enclosed tubes, cylinders, jumps, and curvy confusing paths, as well as hazards like dirt patches or mines. Each of the futuristic racing vehicles is rated on an A to E scale, and has an energy meter which not only measures the machine's health, but can also be used to provide the player with a boost if they need it. The tracks have pit areas where players can stop to repair their vehicles and gain back energy, and dash plates, which provide a speed boost without using any precious energy. Depending on how hard you find the game though, F-Zero may feel like it's referring to your skills as a racer. But hey, there's nowhere to go from there but up, and around, and over, and through. Actually, it's so many directions. Number 4. Split Second. Driving fast is fun. Explosions are fun. Stunts are fun. So surely a game that includes all of these would be triple the fun. Spoiler alert, it is. In 2010 action racer Split Second, or Split Second Velocity if you want to get European about this, players are participating in a fictional 12-episode reality TV show in order to gain fame and fortune. Each track has destructible environments, which can be triggered by the player using what the game refers to as power plays, built up by doing stunts and precision driving, such as drifts and drafting behind competitor cars. These destructible environments can be used to create obstacles, shortcuts, or generally alter the shape and feel of the course. However, the AI can use these environments as well, meaning the player always has to be on the lookout for falling buildings and rubble. There are different levels of event that can be triggered depending on how much of their meter the player has filled up, and some, such as helicopter projectiles, can be used multiple times. All of this creates a chaotic environment for players to race through, and it can be made even more chaotic with multiplayer. Unfortunately, the Steam version of the game removes online multiplayer functionality, but split-screen co-op is still available. Or should that be split-screen co-op? Editor, can you put that on screen, please? Otherwise it doesn't make any sense as a joke. Brilliant, thank you. Number 3, Wave Race 64. Do you not only dislike cars and all the customization thereof, but also despise the very concept of being on solid ground? Well, in that case, Wave Race 64 has got you covered. The premise of Wave Race 64 is simple. Players are given jet skis and tasked with going around courses, performing stunts, and overtaking opponents in order to win. In other words, racing. There's also a buoy system that must be followed, with red buoys that must be passed on the right and yellow buoys that must be passed on the left. And doing this correctly will increase the player's speed. Miss 5 of them though, and the player will be disqualified and forced to start all over again. If this still sounds all a bit standard, players are also able to unlock the ability to ride a dolphin instead, by going to the appropriately named Dolphin Park track and performing all of the stunts before reaching the finish line. When they go back in to select their racer, all they have to do is hold down on the D-pad and voila! I'll see you at the finish line. Finish, not because it's from Finland, it's got fins, never mind. Number 2, Micro Machines 2 Turbo Tournament. Toy cars have been popular for flipping ages, pretty much ever since cars themselves became a standard mode of transportation, and many video games have tried to bring the fun of playing with these toys to the virtual space. None has been quite as successful though as Micro Machines 2 Turbo Tournament. Themed around the collectible Micro Machines toys that first became popular in the mid-1980s, the game lets players select from a range of racers who are then plopped into one of the tiny vehicles and dropped onto a course. Because they are tiny and based on toys, however, these aren't your standard race courses. Instead, players will be looking down on common household scenes, such as a kitchen countertop or a pool table, and racing around scattered, discarded items that would be at home in these environments. These can help to form tunnels and jumps, but they can also cause roadblocks, stopping players in their tiny tracks. Both the MS-DOS release and an updated release for the Mega Drive included a construction kit and track editor, allowing players to both paint their vehicles in whatever way they'd like and create any crazy courses they could come up with. They may be small, but these cars certainly deserve a big chunk of your time. And number 1, Wipeout Omega Collection. Is it cheating to include a collection of games on this list? You can call it cheating, I call it a wildcard entry, oh brilliant! As the name implies, Wipeout Omega Collection is a bunch of entries from the Wipeout series. Specifically, it includes 2 remasters, that's Wipeout HD along with its expansion, Wipeout HD Fury, and Wipeout 2048. But that's not all though, because Wipeout HD itself has content from both Wipeout Pure and Wipeout Pulse. Is anyone getting tired of the word Wipeout? The 9 different modes in the collection have players guiding an anti-gravity race ship around each track. Each of these vehicles is equipped with a shield, which will block incoming damage from obstacles and collisions, and if it disappears, the ship will explode and the player will be eliminated from the race. However, if they've sustained damage, they can regain their shield by changing unwanted power-ups into shield energy. The game's signature high-speed thrills still hold up to this day, even more so thanks to the remastering they've been given and the updated futuristic soundtrack. And all of this can even be enjoyed in VR thanks to an update. It's important to take breaks though if you opt for this mode. You wouldn't want to wipe yourself out.